Good evening, everyone. We're here. We did it. It's a gift. Man, that, again, hard to follow that with some humor, but I've got some thoughts. I know yesterday I said that it felt wildly inappropriate, and it feels wildly inappropriate, but I don't think it is. I actually don't think it is, and this is why. So, one of the things Dr. Keating said was, you're serving out of anxiousness. And for those of us in this room, I know we probably all felt this, but are we not serving out of anxiousness, right? Until that power hit. And then God was just like, shut up and worship. I think that should be the new Ascend 2021. Just shut up and worship. That's what we're doing this year. So there's a line from, if you guys have seen Chariots of Fire, it's an old movie and it's very long. There's a really cool scene where they're all running on the beach. But the main character says, when I run, I feel the Lord's pleasure. And I think for us tonight, the reason we do this, the reason we do comedy after this, is because when we live life, we feel the Lord's pleasure. And so tonight, yeah, clap for me, thank you. Yeah, Dr. Keating didn't get a clap, but I did. What's up? All right. So yeah, really, that's what we're doing. We're living life tonight, and so please feel free to enter into the joy that we're trying to have here, and yeah, so that's the plan. So we got an awesome night tonight. We're going to be interviewing the one and only Gordy DeMarais. We are going to be giving away our AirPods, which is awesome. Tonight is sponsored by Eden Invitation. We're going to hear a little bit more about them in a minute, and then we're going to play a game, and we're going to do a little tete-a-tete, so to speak, between Gordy and Nick Red. So, without further ado, I'd love to invite up Gordy DeMarais. A pleasure. We weren't supposed to hug because of COVID, you know, but yeah, it's okay. Yeah, that's much better. All right. Gordy, thank you for joining. There's water here for you if you would like it. I believe Olivia did drink out of that though, so again with the COVID thing. But we'll try not to make fun of it. So, okay. Gordy, you have lived in household.
I have.
In your life, and you currently do not live in a student household.
Not a student household.
Not a student household. Well, I mean, so Johnny.
Well, kind of, yeah.
Sometimes, yeah. So Johnny, his youngest son, is a student in college and sometimes lives at home.
Yeah.
So
sometimes.
Do you have any stories, any kind of fun, crazy, appropriate stories from your household years?
Boy, it's a long time ago.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, at least.
You know, I think I figured between the time I was 20 and 28, I lived with over 300 people.
Wow.
In various kinds of household.
Now you did do a year in prison, so. Just kidding.
That's right. We're not going to talk about that.
Yeah, don't bring it up. Yeah.
And in fact, household was such a part of my young adult life that when I got married at 28, it was really hard for me to step out of kind of living in a men's household and then living with my wife. And,
right, yeah.
There's a real clap about that.
Yeah. He did it! Yeah, he got married! Yeah.
But actually, 9 months after we were married, we had bought a house and we had five single men move in, single men to live with him. So she always charged me with not fully making the conversion from single men's household life. And then of course Peter was born. But one story, we were living in a house with 12 guys on Ashland Avenue over here in St. Paul, and I think the name of our house was the Ashland Amels. No. These days we have Fort Zion and Antioch and all that, but we were the Ashland Amels.
Yeah,
and
that's great.
We were all sitting around the table one night. It was a Saturday night. We were doing our opening of the Lord's Day prayers, and we got this knock on the door, and this salesman came to the door. And he knocked on the door, and then he plowed right into the house, came right into the dining room, and he was selling a subscription to cable television.
Nice. Which was, I mean, at that point, like,
there was
new, right?
Yeah, it was new.
Yeah.
And the only way you could actually watch stuff was.
Was it in color?
Was it was. Yes. Was on a TV. You know,
wow, that's crazy. Yeah.
Do you know what a TV is?
Yeah. So it's like that thing. Yeah.
And
looks like that.
So when he walked in the house, he saw there were 12 young men. And his sales pitch for us, you can imagine, if he's selling a cable television, was the kind of things that young men out in the world would want to watch. And he thought we had a captive audience
Sewing
here.
with Nancy and, other.
Yeah. And one of the guys in all righteousness stood up at the table and looked at the guy and pointed his finger. He says, "Get out of here."
That's awesome. Oh, man. There you go. That's awesome. I love that.
Story?
That's great. That's sweet. All right. So, okay, you and Dr. Keating have co-written a book, soon to be published by who's publishing it?
A Word Among Us.
Word Among Us. That's right. Word Among Us. The book is called "Called to Christian Joy and Maturity: Forming Missionary Disciples." Correct.
That's right.
Can you kind of how did that come about that you and Dr. Keating, obviously both brilliant men, have a lot to offer, but came together and were able to write this book?
Well, at least Dan's brilliant.
Well, yeah.
Well, Dan
You got the look.
Dan and I have known each other, I think we met in the 80s. We were both
Okay.
in our early young 20s, and the Lord had grabbed a hold of our lives and in such a way that we've really spent the whole of our life
Sure.
in the work of evangelizing and forming young people. And I don't know, three or 4 years ago, we were together, and Dan said, we should write a book on formation, the things that we've learned through the years on formation. And we thought it could be a real contribution to the church. And we were riding in the car at that time with the guy who's the president of Word Among Us. And he said, you guys write that book, and I'll publish it.
That is probably not most people's experiences with publishers. That's awesome.
Probably not.
Yeah.
And so it's been a great collaboration. I studied theology back a number of years and had to write a lot of thesis and term papers and hand them in, and I'd always get them back with, red marks all over it and corrections. And so working with a professor of theology at a seminary, it was a lot of fun because I could just submit my papers and he would do all the correction part of it without sending it back to me with the red marks on it.
Sure. That's awesome. That's great. Well, tell me a little bit about the book. Obviously, there's tons of literature right now in the Christian world. What was the need that you guys saw that you guys really felt that you have, an angle on really sharing something impactful?
We really do live today in a different season in human history and church history and the life of the church. Sure. We really, the way church life is lived today, the way the Christian life is lived today is different than it was 100 years ago with my grandparents or even 50 years ago. We're living in a culture that's much more antagonistic and hostile to the Christian faith. And we're not living in families and in a culture that are forming us just to be mature human persons, much less to be mature disciples. And so there's an urgency today, both for the work of evangelization, which is bringing people into that adult encounter with Jesus Christ that sets them on a course that's all of my life for the rest of my life. Yeah. But I think our experience has been through the years that with the emergence of a lot of evangelistic movements that we've seen lots of young men and women really come alive in their faith. Yeah. And really desire to follow the Lord. But then 2 years, 3 years, 5 years later, as the culture in the world keeps ebbing away at that faith, that faith becomes mediocre or even goes away. Yeah. Because this encounter with Jesus Christ is just the beginning of the process. Yeah. Evangelization is a process, and that process needs to lead us to become mature disciples, to have a foundation built in our life that can sustain us in living faithfully in love of God and love of neighbor for the whole of the rest of our life. And this is some of the wisdom and grace I think the Lord's given to us in this movement and that we've been about. And we hadn't, people write about formation, they write about evangelization, but we haven't really seen anything out there that puts the whole thing together in a way that is integrated. And I mean, a mature Christian is not just somebody who prays. I mean, prayer and our relationship with the Lord is a key part of maturity. And it's not just somebody who studies the catechism and has a lot of head knowledge, but it's actually someone who grows in virtue, learns how to love in a daily life kind of way, and live the whole of our life, day in and out, every moment of our life. And a lot of that's really practical formation. So.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, oh my gosh. I mean, I know for myself, like when I got plugged into SPO, I mean, I remember experiencing, it was like this like breath of fresh air of like, oh my gosh, this is like an all-encompassing thing. It was like finally there's this thing that I can, to a certain extent, I mean, it's the Lord, it's not SPO, but like entrust myself to, that's gonna see multiple angles in my life and not just one, and that's been really profound for me to experience. So
yeah, you know, it's I mean, those of you who are missionaries, you know, there's nothing that is more fun and brings more joy and excitement than seeing somebody come alive in faith. But one of the things that brings joy to me actually is when I see somebody 10 years or 20 years or 30 years or 40 years later still living faithfully, at bringing that faith into their vocation, into their family life, into their married life, by seeing people go off and bring that faith, bring Jesus Christ into the marketplace, and into their profession, or pursuing priesthood and religious life as God calls them.
Amen. That's awesome. Praise God. I think we've got a slide. So if you guys want to get into this book, we can pre-order it today. You're going to save $5. The book is probably going to be at least $300-ish or so. At least. So but $5, so you know that's like 0.5%. You can go to Word Among Us website, wau.org/SPO conference. You can pre-order it today. Let's give it up one more time for Gordy. Absolutely amazing. Are you ready to play this game?
No.
No? All right. Well, we're gonna do it anyway.
I'm gonna do it.
Yeah. Here we go. So we're gonna transition down to play this game. Awesome. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here with Nicholas Red. Thank you for, it's great. I don't know if you guys know this, he was just killing it up there. Nick Red is hilarious and fun and funny and not just like, give it up for Nick. We need to announce the winner of these AirPods. Hopefully you're still listening. We're going late tonight, but don't worry, we got all night and nowhere to go. So here we go. The winner, Eden Invitation. So Eden Invitation, this is them. As the culture shifts, Eden Invitation believes that the church must be there to meet it. They're a movement for young adult Catholics experiencing same-sex desires or gender discordance who are seeking to follow Christ in his church. They're an awesome ministry.
Yeah.
They're doing some really awesome work. So thank you so much, Eden Invitation, for sponsoring us tonight and this show. So the winner, if I can have the camera guy shift a little bit to the right so I can read the screen and see who won. That's you, Danny. I'm looking at you. A little bit to there it is. All right, Susanna Campos. Campos. Susanna. Oh, Susanna. Something like that. All right, cool. We're gonna do the game. I'm out of these. I don't need them anymore. All right, so how this game works. The two of you have these stacks of words. Okay. In these stacks are words that I thought were more or less the opposite of what you guys personify.
Okay.
So in your stack, Gordy.
What does Gordy personify?
So, well, I'll tell you the opposite, and you can extrapolate. Okay. So the opposite of Gordy here, we have like hip, young, you know, just life-living slang terms. Nick, in your pile, we have intelligent, thoughtful,
that makes sense,
provoking, just
inspiring
terms. Like, all right. Educated.
Right. Yes, 5th level grade or above.
Class.
Right.
Yeah, words. Okay. Okay, great. So how this game's going to work is that the two of you are going to have a conversation. I'm not even really going to participate. I might ask some provoking questions just to kind of keep it going. Okay. You're going to talk about family vacations. That's what you're gonna do. You're gonna go back and forth.
So there's one word on the back of each.
There's gonna be a word right here.
In the definition.
Right, and there's a definition of it because your words, there's no way you could know them, and I'd be very surprised if you knew yours. So, all right. So are you guys ready to go?
I think so.
All right, Nick, can you start us off by telling Gordy something about your family vacations growing up?
Well, funny thing is I actually didn't go on many family vacations growing up.
Really?
We did a lot of soccer tournaments. It was quite the boondoggle of an experience because we would go and we'd stay in the hotel with the other soccer team. And my dad tried to make a great experience out of it.
Yeah.
The biggest one we did was up here in Minnesota.
Really?
Up in Blaine, Minnesota, the USA Soccer Cup. Went to the Mall of America. I got involved with Magic. But yeah, again, so we did a little bit of camping growing up, but not much. Soccer tournaments.
That's really good. Gordy, do you have any thoughts about what Nick has shared with us?
Thoughts about what he shared?
Yeah, or
I'm going to tell him about my own family.
yeah, you can honestly, dude, you can say whatever you want. I mean, we're just we're in the game now. Just go for it.
When we went on vacation, we always went to the wilderness, the Bounty Waters, and up in northern Minnesota.
I've been there with you.
Yeah, you have.
Yeah, it was a good time.
It was a blast.
I haven't been with you.
Let's go.
Okay.
We should do
We
that.
could have a little teat to teat.
T to T.
You know what I'm saying?
I believe it's tete-a-tete. Yeah, what you're asking for is a different experience.
Is that your word?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. All right, you say your word now before this gets too weird.
Well, anyways, so we would load up all the kids, in a little minivan, 6 kids. Johnny was 3 at that time. He's 19 now, and we would travel 24 hours straight up into the Canadian Rockies, and we'd be going up and down these mountain paths with this overpacked Dodge Caravan. And we were coming back one year, and we were in the middle of Saskatchewan, in the middle of the night, because we would drive straight through. Imagine that with 6 kids.
Yeah.
And 50 miles out of Moose Jaw, Saskatchewan, with the car breaks down, and here we are sitting out on the right.
Now that's a boondoggle.
That's I was really shook.
Yeah, that was good. That was good. Wait, we're having fun tonight. You know why? Everybody shook.
Oh my gosh.
All right, that's great. You want to tell us about tell us about your family life.
I'd rather not.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah. You trying to start a diatribe with me, son?
Yeah. I am. That's good. Yeah. Gordy, you want? What's your family life like?
We have a great family life.
Yeah.
My kids are really Gucci.
Yeah. Okay. That's awesome.
I feel violated by that.
Oh, this is going exactly as planned.
Yeah.
Can you got something to say to him? You can just read your words to one another at this point. Like, this is pretty fun. Oh, man.
I just want to make sure I pronounce them correctly.
Yeah, this one is not close to a tete-a-tete.
A tete-a-tete.
A tete-a-tete.
Do other people
French.
know that?
It's French. I used it earlier.
Tete-a-tete.
Tete-a-tete. It means head-to-head. Which is, yeah. All right. Okay, tell us about high school. Give me something about high school.
Right, high school.
Trying to cue you up. There's
Right.
Yeah.
Could you read that word? Yeah. Thank you. I just wanted to make sure that the C wasn't silent. High school, so I played 2 sports in high school, tennis and soccer.
Yeah.
Dated no girls in high school because I was terrified of them, true story. I did, however, get over that, and I did ask somebody to go to prom with me. I wore a pink tux with ruffles, cane. I was really trying to step into the role of sycophant.
Yeah, that was a flawless usage.
Yeah. Did you say pink tux?
Pink tux. Did you have a pink tux?
I had powder blue.
Powder blue.
Powder blue.
Man, you guys could have gone together. That would have been
Did it
awesome.
have the ruffles?
If I would have had a pink tux, I would have got some clapback.
There we go, man. Gordy's killing it. Okay, all right, we're on. You got one more, and he's got 2 more. You ought to care for pronouncing that one.
Yeah,
all right.
yeah.
Gordy, tell us a little bit about. Man, I don't even. You live on a hobby farm now, right?
No cap.
Yeah, all right, boom, nailed it. All right, sweet. And we're.
Well, I mean, You know, would you rather live on a farm or like, well, you live in a farm, or like the inner city?
Oh, definitely where I live.
Really?
Yeah, for sure.
Did you ever live in an inner city growing up?
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. I grew up in an inner suburb, and I lived in St. Paul, inner city St. Paul.
Okay.
A little postage stamp yard for 28 years.
What the?
I see the setup you're trying to do, and it totally derailed.
You derailed me.
Hey,
Well-
you remember when we played that game that I'd never played before?
Secret Hitler?
Yeah, sure, let's play that game.
You were such a neophyte.
I was a neophyte. I sucked at it, what a noob. All right.
I bet.
Yep, all right, we did it. Thank you, everybody. That is the Ascend Show. Bless you all. Have a great night. We'll see you guys tomorrow. Peace out.